Good morning, everybody. Hopefully, you guys had a great Monday. It's as good as a Monday could be, actually, for some reason. It says that I'm live streaming here, but I'm not seeing any data flowing through yet. But it is something. It looks like something has started. I don't know exactly what the hell I'm looking at, to be honest with you, with the way this data works, but it is what it is. So I will not complain. Dismiss that. All right. Looks like it looks like everything's on. Everything's on. Good. All right. So what is this? Concurrent viewers, chat rates, viewers. I don't know what this stuff is. Some of this stuff doesn't make any sense to me. Anywho, with all that said, guys, good morning, Cindy. Oh, right off the bat. Okay, Cindy, so you have a choice. If you guys are not aware of the super chats today, they're actually pretty low cost, and you actually get a story out of it. So I guess it's a good way to start the channel since Cindy's already got one. So you get to choose between the Gotimba hats, the Arcarius hats, or the National Association of Gun Rights hat. I'll wear one for a little while and tell you a story all about it. You tell me in the chat which one you want, and I will tell you a story. While we're doing that, guys, let's go ahead and say good morning to everybody as usual. Rose. One already to number two. You are the deuce. And Debbie, you are determined. We got West Virginia Pappy. We got Mike attitudes in the show where we got here lazy Andy Pearson, Master of Reality, Deanna Jordan, Spags, what's up, buddy? And says the gun rights hats. All right. So when this hat right here, this hat is there a date inside of here? Let me see here. It's of course it's one size fits most, and it's made in China, which is hilarious. So this hat was the hat that they sent me when I first joined NAGA. It's national, right? Yeah, National Association of Gun Rights. And this is what they were giving away along with a polo shirt when you signed up when they first started the organization. It's that old. I'm kind of a collector of hats. Um, I don't really wear this one outside very much, to be honest with you. I like to take care of my hats. The hats I don't like wearing a darker hat outside because I want my head to stay cool. But you know, that was back when the I was really getting into gun rights. I had just recently retired. I'm going to give you a heart and a thumbs up. And the um, the movement was just starting up. There were some very grassroots movements here in North Carolina, and this is actually the simplest hat. This hat has the smallest story ever, but shortly after that, I actually obtained my concealed carry license and have been doing it ever since. So I'm going to keep it on for a little while for you, but the other two actually have much better stories. You pick the one story that has the shortest story to tell. Where are we at here? We got Preston. Good morning, young man. Oops, it's a balmy 17 here in Northeast Kansas. Rose, so you could be a hothead. Believe it or not, I used to be quite a hothead long before this hat. But I have mellowed out in my old age. 16 children and 15 grandchildren will do that to a man. Let's see here. All right, so getting into this, looking at the fancy thumbnail, talking about the things, and one of the things that we kind of never talk about, it's like, it's the apocalypse. We're going to break things down. It's Titawaki, the end of the world as we know it, and we're going to have to it's going to be almost like Mad Max, where you got to go out and get things, and you got to protect everything, and you can't just be this lone wolf prepper anymore. Pamela, go. Pamela Prepper, good morning. Hey, I sent you a message on X. I cannot meet today. My schedule is just jammed. I won't be able to meet up with you until next week. It's probably for the best too, because I don't want your kid cooties. Hopefully, your child is doing much better. Hopefully, your child is doing much better. And for everybody, he's got a sick kid. He's just got a sick kid, and that transfers stuff like that. So, good morning, Billy King. So, yeah, next week, bro. Next week. All right, so getting right to the point, so that my the replay crew isn't losing their damn minds. Good morning, Kim. Um, in a breakdown of social order, community defense becomes kind of essential, especially during a Titiwaki or end of the world as we know it scenario. While fictional depictions like, the 1 second after illustrate small towns successfully organizing defenses. Real world communities face numerous practical challenges. These include flat or open terrain, dispersed populations, managing an influx of refugees, and ensuring cooperation among diverse residents. Addressing these issues requires careful planning, resource management, and social cohesion. So I've actually like written down a few points that we need to talk about. That hat is way like hurts my head a little bit. Uh, go to the shelter in place to stop the spread. I got you, bro. Okay, let's see here. And good morning, just getting in. Hope I didn't miss it. No, Bradley, you have not. You have missed nothing. There have been no meetings that you have missed today. All right. So first and foremost, by the way, we still got two hats that we have to have a story about. If anybody's interested, you know how to do it. So one of the key things is geographic vulnerability. Now, most towns lack natural barriers, making it difficult to control entry points, unlike the fictional Black Mountain, which benefits from steep mountainous terrain. Many real world communities sit on open plains or gentle hills, leaving them vulnerable to infiltration from all directions. Without choke points to monitor or fortify, defense must rely on strategic observation and mobility. To address this, communities should identify critical access points such as main roads, footpaths, and waterways. Setting up observation posts at these locations allows early detection of approaching threats. Additionally, organizing volunteer patrols to monitor vulnerable areas, especially at night, can deter potential infiltrators. Simple fortifications like barriers or fences can slow down intruders, giving defenders valuable time to respond. Now, I think one of the things that we kind of should visualize when we talk about like creating limited access into our towns in the event of some one of these situations, uh, the whole idea behind this is talking about how to protect our towns, our villages, things like that. But or maybe even our blocks, depending on where you live, because in the city it's nearly impossible to do it. It's not impossible, but it will take a lot more time. But kind of visualizing where people have put up like roadblocks or checkpoints, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, can help to control the areas. What is this? What was that? Was weird. 1 second, guys. Oh, okay. Just yeah, no worries. All right. So, um, community dynamics. Let me look at the chat here real quick here. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Star Canada. The militarists like Afghanistan, Railroad, I got you, Bird Lady. Good morning, young lady. Good morning. And I did get my special message from you, Bird Lady, when you commented. I still don't know why you're the only one that this happens to, but it's so interesting. Grumpy's in the house. Grumpy Acres showed up. Stupid as it sounds, you can find inspiration from prepper fiction. Just read Black Autumn. The authors, I need to make this text bigger. It's just driving me nuts. There we go. Let's see, Black Autumn. The authors did a good job painting a picture of what to do. Nice. Cuck V is watching from the People's Republic of Michigan, feeding 5,000 to 5,500 cows. Ian is in the house. Good morning, my friend. Okay, so the next thing we need to talk about is community dynamics. Now, modern small towns often lack the social cohesion necessary for organized defense. In many areas, neighbors may not know each other well, creating a challenge when forming a unified defense force. Building trust and fostering cooperation is essential to overcoming these divisions. Community meetings, workshops, and training sessions can help bridge social gaps and establish a sense of shared purpose. Preppers can play a crucial role in fostering this cohesion by organizing regular drills, sharing preparedness knowledge, and encouraging open dialogue. They can build rapport with their neighbors, establish clear communication channels, such as community bulletin boards or radio networks, ensures that everyone stays informed and can respond quickly to emerging threats. Hostile or hosting social events like potlucks or work days can also strengthen relationships and create a sense of solidarity. Now, one thing that I'm not talking about here, because I just thought about it, was many small towns, particularly the small town in Virginia that I live in, is it's a lot of people that kind of know each other, but it has a very small town atmosphere where like everybody knows everybody, and but they're not, but it doesn't appear like everybody is in everybody's business. Now, here's the reason why. Because this town is probably 90, we'll say 85% liberals. It's an artisan community, and it's kind of a unique place. But what I found is that there are social events that you can go to and make friends with people. You don't even have to be like talking about preparedness or anything like that. There's one event that happens every month. It's and where basically you go and look at people's art inside this one giant place, and every single booth has free wine in it, free wine and cheese. So people go there like every Wednesday and just hang out and buy art or talk about art so I kind of found that it was a good way for me to get into this community when I got up there. And Turns out that a lot of people are, unfortunately, a lot of them are very liberal. But man, why is my mouse doing weird stuff here? But they're in general nice people. You just follow the simple rules of never talk about religion or politics because it's the quickest way to lose friends. Um, and then I think that if something were to go down in that sleepy little town, that it would be very easy to organize people because many people go to all sorts of different little functions, church groups. I mean, you just name it. The annual town yard sale. I mean, people just know people, and and that builds relationships and friendships. And then at that point, you can start with the, "Hey guys, have you been noticing this or that?" and so on and so forth. I'm going to go to the chat here real quick here. Running a bit late, still working on coffee. Let's see here. The militarist says that Pittsburgh is last defense line on earth of the U.S. Okay. Well, let's see here. Oops is in the house. Good to see you, bro. And I am in top chat like a moron. Why am I in top chat? How did I get in top chat? I set this. It likes it. It's like it's trying to go home to mama. Um, Let's finish up with the chat here. Pittsburgh has three rivers, which is the Monongahela and the Allegheny in Ohio. Grumpy Acres Farms. Yes, this is how it is in rural Arkansas. Gnostic nomad. Militarist, it's all holding fast. Still, the cities just have just have us look blue. There you go. Gnostic. Welcome to the channel. I don't recognize you, but make sure you hit that subscribe button, bro. Welcome. All right, so coming off of that, we're going to check the. I don't even know how many people are in the room, to be honest with you. But everything is so clunky. Why is everything so absolutely clunky in what I'm doing today? It doesn't make any sense to me. Um, let's do that. Okay. But looking at the chat, and I'm not telling you to vote because people like to vote at the end as well. How would you prepare for community defense in a crisis? 57% say form a volunteer defensive network. 26 is train neighborhoods in survival skills. 13% say stockpile extra supplies for all, and 4% say strengthen home defenses only. All right, so there's my lone preppers right there. It's YouTube. Mr. J showed up. Good morning. Good morning. All right, so oh, there we go. The militarist. If you didn't hear him, half the New England states, including New York, are to secede to join. Yeah, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. One moron state senator freaking has decided to run her suck and have this great idea, and that they're going to secede. They're going to be Canada's, one of Canada's, what is it, remote states. It's like, are you insane? If you know happening in Canada right now, the whole thing in Canada right now, yes, they've gone totally socialist. Yes, there's huge problems there. But yes, there was even an article that I glanced at this morning about how a town in Canada is being heavily fined because they didn't celebrate LGBT Day or some kind of crap like that. Don't fall for that shit, the militarists. No one's going to Canada. We can't get 99.9% of the people who actually can afford to move to Canada to go to Canada who say that. You think that they're going to just like, oh, whatever. Oh, and then somehow the United States is just going to give up all of their military assets in those particular states. Yeah, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. It's going to be like, hey, thanks for trying to secede, but you're not going anywhere. Anywho, let's see here. Gnostic says New Hampshire would just go off on our own before we join Canada. Exactly. Exactly. You know, this is another nutbag who is independent of Canada. I'll stay in Tennessee anyway. This is just a nutbag. I listened to her speech and her thing that she tried to put out, and I can't remember. I don't think it was Maine. Maybe it was Connecticut. Maybe it was I'm not sure which northern state it was. Um, but I listened to her and I was just like, and she just had this, well, we're so much like you. Our beliefs align so well. Yeah, we just become your provincial state. Yeah, that's what we'll do. It's crazy. It's absolutely ridiculous. Let's see here. Bird Lady says, I'm an outsider in my rural areas. It worries me at all times. I try to stay positive and not to be paranoid. Yeah, don't do that, man. Rose says, we goofed. We should have the land to the St. Lawrence and make sense. I got you. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to number 3, managing. That's my signal to drink coffee. Managing refuge influx. One of the most significant challenges will be managing a surge of displaced people. Refugees fleeing from nearby cities or disaster stricken areas could overwhelm local resources, leading to tensions and conflict. Without a clear plan, this influx could strain food supplies, medical care, and shelter. Communities need protocols for handling newcomers, designating specific areas as refugee reception zones, and can help control the flow of people and prevent chaos. Screening procedures led by trusted community members can identify potential threats while ensuring that genuine refugees receive assistance. Establishing temporary shelters separate from critical supply depots minimizes the risk of resource depletion. Preppers might consider stockpiling basic goods like food, water, and medical supplies specifically for refugee support. Providing minimal aid, such as seeds for planting or basic survival tools, can help newcomers become self sufficient and reduce their burden on the community. This approach also fosters goodwill, potentially turning refugees into allies rather than threats. And well, the general idea behind a refugee is that somebody is running from something bad to something that is good. But these people need to understand that they must conform, that they must be assimilated into this culture that is now a survival culture, and that they're probably running something that they helped destroy through stupidity. And most likely they need to understand that they should not be bringing their politics to the environment, because that's 99% of the problem. All right, see here. Grumpy says Canadian provinces have a better chance at becoming U.S. states versus the other way around, 100%. Let's see here. Ian says upstate and Western New York State would never allow the transfer to Canada. They will still be 1A, 2A rights. Exactly. No one's given up their firearms to these morons. This is why this lady is so stupid. This is why she's a joke. Let's see here. See here. The militarist says, yeah, that's a knock on wood's situation with refugees. I know, right? Yeah, let's see. I gotcha. Okay, so I think we're up to speed. I have a feeling this is going to be a short live stream, guys. All right, let's see here. I think next what we need to do is talk about a few recommendations, because some of the things we can talk about, yeah, you need to set this up, but we need some actual like firm recommendations on the subject so that we can actually gain some knowledge from this video. So I think the first thing we need to talk about is fostering community cooperation. Engaging both preppers and non-preppers is essential for building a cohesive defense force. Identifying individuals with valuable skills, such as veterans, hunters, medical professionals, and engineers, can significantly enhance the community's resilience. Forming specialized teams based on these skills ensures that each aspect of defense and recovery is addressed effectively. Preppers should take the initiative in organizing these efforts, hosting skills sharing workshops, such as basic first aid and self defense classes, and demonstrate their commitment to the community. Creating a volunteer registry allows residents to contribute their skills and resources, fostering a sense of ownership and responsibility. Encouraging mutual aid agreements with neighborhood towns can also strengthen regional security networks. Now, staying on point with that, it always comes back to the community. And I'm literally like in my mind, as I'm telling you guys this stuff, in my mind, I'm visualizing like, hey, I could like I could go to like, I could find like, excuse me, get a little bit of dry throat there. A little bit, I could like find like an EMT who is willing to teach. Wow, my throat is really, you hear that? That's crazy. Okay. Well, it's still a little crazy, but uh, all right, let's try this again. But what I was thinking was, before I almost died on camera here, was that I could find somebody who was like an EMT to teach a stop the bleed class to the community. You know what I'm saying? And then just advertise it through like the YMCA, um, and through the town manager's office, because a lot of you guys didn't know this. You can like have things advertised in these newsletters that go out to everybody who's on the list anyway, at the town manager's office of your town. So that's an idea. I see people are throwing money at me right now, so we're gonna have to. It looks like community is hard. Looks like Cindy asked for another one. Wait a minute, that's the first hat. Wait a minute here. Okay, so Cindy asked for two. Okay, Cindy, I appreciate you. We're going to give you a heart, a thumbs up. And so the first hat, which one? You know what? Looks like I have two of them, hat one and hat number two. So we're going to do that. And we're going to do that. And we're gonna say that right there. And Bradley, thank you very much for that $1.99. Appreciate you, bro. If you guys didn't know this, all of these actually go to the computer upgrade for the command center. It looks better than it really is. It really does. I'm just gonna replace that box right there. It's probably gonna cost me about 3 grand. So yeah, nothing but fun. Um, let's you know what? Let's do the chat first before we do the hats here. Um, let's see here. It's going to be a pain. Oops, no shorts. It's too cold. No, not a short stream. Gotcha, bird lady. I will do my best to keep going here. Cindy says I'm going to go to start with a gardening plan, self-sufficiency garden group at our coffee shop to break the ice with new people. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. And if you guys didn't see it in the members only Discord, I got put on by Pamlico County Prepper. He actually just lives north of me, and uh, he put me on to the Millennial Gardener, I think is the name of it. Pamlico, if I'm screwing that up, put that in the chat. This guy is like super freaking smart as far as gardening goes. Not a joke. Easily one of the best gardening YouTube channels I've ever seen before. So, militarist last time. Whoa there, we got a lot of stuff here. Food and water at the community level will be a problem. What happens when a lot of people don't have supplies? Will the prepared people be willing to share? That's a great question, Pastor. It's a great question. It really is. Um, Bradley, time for the meeting. Have a good day. See you later. What's up, Tad? Good to see you, man. Life done free. Good morning, local guys. Let's see here. There's talk about it at UMPC is doing that. Well, I'll believe it when I see it. I think there's more issues involved than just some fat lady going. And don't get me wrong, I only call fat ladies fat when they're just arrogant fools, or carrots. Let's see here. Where are we at here? My VFW post offered first aid classes for free. That's interesting. Advertised it and no one showed up. Community members must be engaged before you do all that work to help them. That's a good idea, Grumpy. That's great advice, Broseph. That's great advice. Bird Lady says, I don't even know where to start with community building. We're in an extremely rural area. It's hard to connect with people. This town is very old fashioned. I got you. Time is everything. Standards for University of Pittsburgh Mental Center. Gardening is so therapeutic. My great passion. Okay. South Korea implemented martial law and the extraterrestrial alien invasion. At least it's not going to be a slow news day. That's interesting. So today is day 39. If you guys didn't know about this, actually Brad put this in the chat and then showed me a video. Apparently, uh, the story's too long, but today's day 39, and we're supposed to be invaded by aliens today. Nothing tastes like homegrown veggies. All right, so you guys are talking about your stuff here. All right, so first thing is we're going to cover the hats. All right, so I've got two hats that I've got to talk about. I'm going to talk about one, and then you know what? I'm going to talk about this one first, and just because it's a good story, but it's not as good as the last one. This is gear from Sports Headgear, 100% cotton, made in Taiwan. All right, so if you don't know what Gotemba is, Gotemba is the Japanese name for Mount Fuji. It's a little over 12,000 feet tall, or should I say above sea level. And I've actually climbed it twice in my life. The first time was because I was voluntold by my command. We had to go. And the second time was because I wanted another Fuji stick. Now, when you climb Mount Fuji, they have these stations. You buy this. It's basically I want to say it's like balsa wood, but it's as light as balsa wood, but it is stronger than that. And so you get this hiking stick at the bottom, right? And you start your hike, and then at certain elevations, there are rest stations. And at those rest stations, there's like this old man, this old woman, maybe even a kid or two, something like that. And they're just sitting up there and they've got a fire going, right? And in that fire, they've got this brand for that particular altitude, and to show how high you made it. And they brand your stick from the top to the bottom, right? And so you and I'm no, yeah, it's from the top to the bottom. And then so at every altitude, I don't remember how many feet it is, but at every altitude, you actually get a new brand, but you have to pay for that brand at each altitude. So I don't even remember how much it was, but basically the stick ended up being worth like 40 bucks US. Uh, I've got to pick someplace way cool. But yeah, I was at Camp Fuji for a short period of time, a couple of times, and we climbed Mount Fuji, which is in the backdrop of Camp Fuji, obviously. And funny stuff, funny stuff. Most people don't account for the elevation change from the camp to the top of Mount Fuji versus the elevation change from the camp down to sea level. I have actually walked from the sea, okay, uh, all the way up. Well, it's actually not the sea, but down to ground level where the railroad is, all the way up to the camp, and then all the way up to the top of Mount Fuji. Um, uh, Billy King says, "Ouch! I don't want one of those branding my stick." But I've actually got, and then what I had to do was there was no way to get it home. I was like, I'm not leaving this. I'm not leaving this anywhere. This is coming home to me. So I cut it in half, and the plan was to put a little bar in the middle of it and then glue it back together. And honestly, I just never did it. It's upstairs, and maybe I need to do that. Maybe I need to like glue my Fuji stick back together and display it for all to see. Maybe that's what I need to do. Outdoor Alley, good to see you, Broseph. But yeah, that is the story of Gotemba. And you got to go there to get one of these hats because it's the only place on the planet that they sell these. They sell these at the Miniature PX at Camp Fuji, Japan. All right, let's see here. I've got to pick some place outside. I don't want a branding stick. Bird Lady, same here, rural country. What are we talking about? Well, currently we're talking about the defense of our how to set up or thoughts to think about for the defense of our small towns in the event of like a Titawaki event. Grumpy says, "Do you have little old ladies and gents passing you like you were standing still? Lack of O2 sucks." Yeah, yeah. I was gonna leave that out of the story, but if you've ever climbed Mount Fuji for the first time, it doesn't matter what kind of shape you're in. I mean, I was an active duty Marine in my 30s. I was in exceptional shape, and about halfway up, you've got it's. These old ladies will be like passing you, and then their children are passing you, and they're like giggling at you as you're trying to climb up this freaking mountain trail with no oxygen. By the way, that's where I learned about the canned oxygen. You can buy it at Walmart. I think it's like $10 a can. But yeah, that oxygen is a game changer. But yeah, getting laughed at by little old ladies and 90-year-old men walking up and down this thing. And normally they would pass you going back down because they had already started like an hour before you and they were already coming back down. That's how fast they did it. It was like an annual ritual that a lot of people in that area do. Let's see here. My community is basically my family members and people I know. That's a start. That's a start, militarist. That's definitely a start. Okay, so we were talking about fostering community cooperation, and I've got that other story to tell you. I will tell you that other story. If somebody meets my goal of 5 super chats, number 5, I will stop what I'm doing and tell you the story of Recus Cacarius. Cacarius. It's right there. You go. Right there. And that logo has meaning, by the way. Only one place in the world. Only one place in the world. All right, so we talked about fostering community cooperation. You know what? I hate to say this, but we got to pay some bills, guy. We got to pay some bills. So I think I'm going to use. I've been having a lot of luck with the Refuge Medical. I think I'm getting to people with Refuge Medical, and the reason I think that is because I get emails every time somebody uses my link, whether they buy something or not. It's like a little thing like, "Hey, somebody use your link," and I've been getting a lot of emails lately, and people are like, "All right, Cindy, let me finish this. I got to pay some bills." You're not pushing any buttons. um, and I want to thank you, Cindy, for being three of the five of meeting my goal to for today. I deeply appreciated. But with Refuge Medical, guys, top notch, top notch. I'm completely satisfied with the kit that I have. Uh, that I have that I have from them. Even the mini was unbelievable. You know, I had to turn it into a bareback, but it was unbelievable, guys. And the nice thing about it is that the kit is guaranteed for life. Yes, it's guaranteed for life. And if you use the ingredient, the not the ingredients, the contents of it to save a life, and you can tell the old bear from the internet all about it in an email, then they will replace all of your supplies for free. Not a joke. If you guys are interested, they're not cheap, but they are once again the best. And I think that this type of medical supply should be, or medical kit should be at the least in your car. You got to kind of treat it like I treat my firearms. They have to work out of the box every time, no questions asked. And that's what this kit does. If you want to save 15% on that, do me a favor, use the code PREPSTOCK, and you will be able to do that. All right, we're going to push this button. We're going to go to the screen that I like to use to tell this story. All right, so, and Laszlo, good to see you, bro. Good to see you. All right, that's not my coffee pot. Here's my coffee pot. Okay, so Caracas. Also said Carcarius. This is one of my favorite hats. As you can tell, it is very well worn. As you can see, there is a shark on it for a reason, and you should know what that word means. Yeah. So, one of the things that changed my life, this is actually a pretty interesting story. One of the things that changed my life was that right there. I had the opportunity when I was in South Africa to swim with the great white sharks inside of Shark Alley in South Africa. Life-changing experience. You find out very quickly how small you are in this world and how your opinion means nothing to things like, I don't know, I think the biggest one we saw was like a 12 foot. It was in the off season, 12 feet long. No, actually, no. The other one was, oh, no, no, 12, no, that's up 12 meters. Maybe 20 feet, maybe 20 feet long. Anyway, so quick story. We were off the coast. We were floating in the in Shark Alley off the south coast of South or the southern coast of South Africa, the very point. And this is where they do all of the filming when they want to find great white sharks. This is where they go because they're everywhere. And so they motorboated us out there, you know, 2 or 3 miles. It wasn't anything crazy. And we got in our wetsuits and we put the cage over the side. This basically you get in a tube. It's a tube shaped cage made of aluminum. And then and we back then we you could still get those disposable cameras that you had to like and they were waterproof, right? So we're out there for like 2 hours. Nothing. We're chumming. We're doing everything to try to bring these sharks in. Nothing. Okay. Motorboating. Giggle. Giggity. What is it? Giggity. Is it giggity? Um, And this boat's not huge either. It's like I think we needed. We actually had once we did get some sharks around us, which I'm kind of jumping over the story here. The We actually did have a shark come up and bite the corner of the boat because that's where the chum bag was hanging off of it. He was trying to get the chum bag, and he was probably maybe a 10-footer. Anyway, and the boat was only like 20, 23 footer. Um, Dual Mercury engines. I mean, it's a good little boat. But anyway, so we're out there for about 2 hours, and we're not seeing anything. And the uh, we all get out of the water because the water's cold. You know what I'm saying? We're taking turns inside the cage, but we're all basically out of the water. And you have to wear when you wear a wetsuit, you have to wear a weight belt to make yourself negatively buoyant, so that you don't like float. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, you're like gonna get stuck in the top of the cage, right? Um, and Deanna, good to see you. And so we're just like we and I had just got out of the water and we're waiting. It's like we're waiting for any sign that there's a shark someplace. And out of nowhere, this big old shark comes out of nowhere. And uh the uh, uh the guide goes, "Calcareous!" And I'm like, "Oh, shnikes." So I literally like grabbed my mask, put it on my head. I had already taken my weight belt off and jumped off of the boat into the top of this cage. Now, the top of the cage isn't like this big orifice like this big, okay? The top of the cage is actually like this little rectangle that's like just big enough for a human being to fit through. Mid-air, I realized this is a huge mistake. And That's one that I better stick the landing, and I did. I went right into it. Once I hit the water inside of the cage, I realized that I couldn't like really control myself in the cage because I was floating from the wetsuit. So I grabbed the bars and pulled myself down to make sure my head was underneath the water so I could find this shark. Right about that time, this 20-foot great white shark comes right next to the cage. Big enough, and I could have reached out and touched this shark. That's how close it was to the cage. And it was just like, oh my God, you are a dummy, and why are you inside this cage? And things are really, really bad. And it swam right past me. And we watched it for a little while after this and after that, and I basically got the best view of the day of the biggest shark that it was absolutely the closest. They told me that they thought the shark was going to bite the cage because it was so close, um, and that they were glad that I didn't reach out and touch it because I literally could have reached out and touched this great white shark, this ginormous killing machine. Anyway, I got out. Yeah, life-changing experience. And then I started to think about it, I had taken some pictures and I really need to find those pictures because I don't know where they are. And of these sharks underwater, like by the boat and in the distance. And you really realize how small and insignificant we are to this planet, to the world in general. Humans pretend that they're larger than life all the time, but we're really not. We're really these tiny little creatures that something like a 20-foot great white shark would just gobble us right up. We're literally that much of nothings in the world. So you should probably spend a few moments thinking about that and thinking about maybe you can be like better. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take the Carcarius hat off. I really like this hat. All right, now you got the three Carcarius. You got the three hat stories. Let's see. Deanna says no thanks. Splash sparks interest. We're at headless LPs. No sharks for me, thanks. At least in an underwater cage, no one knows you peed yourself. Well, that's true. The funny the to end that story. I was talking to the tour guide as we were headed back. And he said, I'll be honest with you, mate. I was really thought that shark was going to bite that cage, and a shark that size could have crushed that cage. And I was like, nice to know. Nice to know. Let's see here. Nothing like feeding a great white shark in a human sardine. There you go, Miko. All right, so hopefully you got your money's worth on that one. We're going to go ahead and let's see here. Let's hit number 3 here. Implement resource sharing initiative. To implement resentment between preppers and non-preppers, resource sharing initiatives are viral or are vital. I need some coffee. Rather than disturbing personal, I'm sorry, distributing personal stockpiles, preppers can continue in other ways. For example, providing seeds for community gardens or organized communal workdays fosters a sense of cooperation without depleting individual reserves. Setting up communal kitchens or food banks stocked with basic items like beans and rice ensures that everyone has access to essential supplies. Encouraging cooperative projects such as building shelters, establishing water collection systems, or creating emergency medical conditions demonstrates goodwill and reduces friction. Preppers can also share knowledge, teaching others how to purify water, build fires, or set up basic security systems. This investment in collective well being strengthens the community's resilience and creates a network of mutual support. So basically, making things a little bit more communal, as well as making people feel as if they don't have to, like, if they're having a slow day, that there's going to be food available to them because the community is going to take care of them. You know. Oops says, I hate a wetsuit full of loaded poop behind. No, I'm good to go. I'll be gross to mention sperm whale made it that way. Outdoor Alley says we are part of the food chain like every other creature. 100%. 100%. Pastor says, yeah, I think it will be a big source of contention in a large community, the haves versus the have-nots. Yeah, it can be that way. It can be that way. That's why a lot of preppers won't talk about their stores or anything that they have for fear that in an SHTF situation, I'll just come to your house. Yeah, it does happen. It is something to think about as well. Okay, and we're a little late, but that's okay. If you love your country, put a number 1 in the chat. Didn't reach high enough. America. There we go. I'm going to drink some coffee. I'm going to read some stuff. I'm going to spit. I'm going to talk some smack. While we're filling up that chat right there, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. One thing you should do is advocate. This is going to be controversial, guys. This is going to be controversial. Advocate for localized taxes and contributions. Let's take this with a grain of salt. Let's go through this one slowly. Communities may need to reintroduce localized taxes or voluntary contributions to fund essential services such as security and infrastructure repair. Historically, early American towns relied on these systems to sustain public services in a post-apocalypse or post-collapse scenario. Similar approaches can support community defense efforts. Funds or resources could be pooled to purchase or produce essential supplies, such as ammunition, medical kits, or community equipment. Community or preppers should emphasize the benefits of these contributions, highlighting how they protect everyone's safety and well being. Transparent decision making about how resources are allocated builds trust and encourages participation. Establishing community committees to oversee these efforts ensures fairness and accountability. So I don't know that, I mean, I wanted to talk about that particular section because, you know, in a post collapse number 1 Scotland. Gotcha, brother. In a post collapse scenario, uh there will be a lot. In America, we've kind of isolated ourselves. We isolate ourselves within, like, circle within circle within circle, and the idea behind every man is the king of his home, every home is a castle. um And then with preparedness or preppers in general, then we have our own supplies. And the idea is that we won't have to worry about the world when it starts to go wacky, and we can sit back and watch all the Walmarts burn, and everything will be fine up until a certain point, at which time we hope that we've reached the level of homesteader so that we are independent from the supply chain. And that's a difficult goal to reach. It's not impossible, but it's a different goal to reach. Now, once somebody realizes what they're looking at, like, oh my God, this is a homestead, then that means that there's food, there's water, there's shelter, there's heat. You know what I'm saying? They're going to want a piece of that. They're going to want a piece of that. And sometimes people need to know not to come around because if they do, they're going to get, die of lead poisoning. But they also need to know that there's a community like your next door neighbor is going to be protecting your stuff and you're going to be protecting their stuff. And, basically the man to the left and the right of me are all watching my back, that kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's how this whole thing plays out. Now, unfortunately, not everybody can be the bullet slinging freaking rogue terror that everybody kind of envisions in a Titawaki situation. Many people will have jobs. Many people will have responsibilities within the community. And some of them could be farmers, and some of them could be someone who works on, water and infrastructure. Some of them could be maintaining the vehicles. Everybody's going to have a job. That's why in the military, for everyone, and this is a generic number, but for every one infantryman, for lack of better terms, there's three to five people that are in support of that person. Someone's got to make sure that the food is made. Someone's got to make sure that the water is clean. Someone's got to make sure that the shelters are up. Things like that. Uh, even in the days of the Roman Empire, everybody wasn't a freaking card carrying, Spartan and stuff. You know what I'm saying? The Spartans weren't Romans. I understand what I know that, but I think basically sword slinger. You know what I'm saying? The Roman soldiers, there were people that they were dedicated to do nothing but scout and hunt food. There were people that were dedicated to um, cooking the food and making the kitchens move, and there were people that were dedicated to running the logistics train, the horses and the carriages that carried all of the hay for the animals. You see what I'm saying? So there's always going to be some kind of logistics that are going to be required, and that person will have to be compensated to survive, if not by money, by food, by lodging, by someone else supporting what they're doing. You see what I'm saying? It's very different here in the modern world than it is out in the bush. It's very different. So let's see. Outdoor Alley says younger generation would be screwed in a survival scenario with no mobile signal and no basic life slash survival skills. Even before military service, I'd be semi-confident of surviving by myself. Well, that's because you're a camping fool. I know that, man. I've watched your videos. If you guys didn't know this, Outdoor Ally actually has his own YouTube channel. You guys should definitely check him out. Um, I guess the next thing to talk about is, and we're running up on our time, but we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it, guys. We can do it. Um, Taking a leadership role. Now, preppers with military or medical or organizational skills are well positioned to lead defense planning efforts. Demonstrating competence as a genuine commitment to the community is essential for gaining trust and influence. By taking on leadership roles such as organizing patrols, training volunteers, or managing resources, they can ensure that their expertise benefits the entire community. Investing time and resources in the collective well-being not only enhances the community's resilience, but also secures preppers' families. Volunteering for leadership position or initiating training session positions them as a viable asset in times of crisis. This proactive approach fosters unity, builds trust, and creates a strong foundation of community defense. With that said, you could not be hesitating to take a a role, to take a leadership role. Now, we're not talking about commanding troops and excellence unless you actually know how to do that. Um, it could be something as simple as, "Hey, I'm really good. By the way, I was a plumber in another life, and I can make sure that everybody has hot showers." Yeah, I used to make school meals for 350 children every morning. I can cook some food for us. I know what the mass quantities are. I have the experience. I can do this for you. Let me take on that leadership role. And if you don't think that being a cook is a leadership role, you are dead wrong. You are dead wrong. All right, Pastor of Reality says everyone helping out and sharing resources voluntary is communalism, but the word communism is derived from the word communalism. Make sure communalism doesn't turn into local tyranny. 100%, Pastor. 100%. Great advice. Great advice. Okay, let's see here. Once again, I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. We got that. We made our target of 5 for 5. So I think I made 5 times 2. That's $10 today. 1 inch closer to the new PC. And let's see here. As usual, a real Animal Farm to prevent that. Just read Animal Farm to prevent that. Gotcha, agnostic. All right, guys. As usual, thanks out for hanging out with me. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up on the way out the door. Make sure that you subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. If you want to support the channel, the best way to do it is to become a member. If you're on your phone, which you likely are right now, because you're probably at work or something, and just find that blue or green text of the word that says more. Tap that, scroll down to where it says join, pick the one in the middle because that's the one that offers all the good stuff. All right, guys, that's going to be about it. Stay safe. And by the way, I did fix the news live stream that I'm doing it at 8 p.m.'s closing. It now says it's 9 p.m. Do you know where your children are? And I also had a new one. Kim K, $5. Thank you, young lady. Greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated. So I'm going to push a button. You're going to see something new that I'm going to start using during the day. You guys have a great day. We'll talk to you tonight. Bye.